So on number 17 right here, we want to write an equation in vertex form and identify the axis symmetry, the vertex, and the direction of opening. Let's first begin by stating what vertex form is. Y equals a parentheses x minus h close parentheses squared plus k. That is vertex form. And what we need to recognize here is that we need three things to write an equation in vertex form. We need the a value, we need the h value, and we need the k value. Now, the a value tells us a lot. If it's positive, the parabola opens up. If it's negative, the parabola opens down. If the a value is other than 1, it provides us with the information if it gets vertically stretched or vertically compressed, right? If it's vertically stretched, it's narrower. If it's vertically compressed, if it's closer to 0, it's vertically compressed, which is wider. The h and k are ultimately the shifts. H is left and right, and k is up and down. You always have to think opposite on h because it's a minus sign. So these are all the things that we're supposed to know, all right? So again, they want us to write an equation in vertex form. Here's vertex form. We need three things. We need the a, the h, and the k. If we're able to find the a, the h, and the k, then we're able to write it in vertex form. Now this equation down here is not in vertex form. This equation down here is in standard form, okay? Now, how could we change a standard form into a vertex form? Well, again, we need the three things. We need an a value, which we already have, and we need an h and k value, which we don't have yet. But we do need to remember that a vertex is the most important point of a parabola, and technically, it's not just an x and y value, it's actually your h and your k value. So if I'm able to take this standard form quadratic trinomial equation and find the vertex, which I can and I will, then I'll technically have my h and k that I need to write my vertex form equation. So how do we find the vertex when you have a standard form equation? Use the formula x equals negative b over 2 times a. And when you use the formula, please use parentheses. So the b value in this case is negative 12, so put a negative 12 right in there. The a value is 3, so what we really have is a minus 12, which is positive 12, over 2 times 3, which is 6, which means that our vertex x value is really 2. So our vertex x value is really 2, which in turn is telling us that our h value, when we want to write it in vertex form, our h value is actually 2. But again, let's find the vertex, all right? So we found that the x value equals 2. Let's find the y value. Once you have your x and you want your y, all you do is plug in the x into the x positions, do the math, and you'll be able to find your y value. So I'm going to rewrite the original quadratic trinomial equation, y equals 3, but instead of x squared, I'm going to put parentheses squared minus 12 times x plus 10. And again, I am plugging in a 2 right into those parentheses. So let's do the math. Exponents first. We have 2 squared, that's 4. 3 times 4, that is 12. And we have 12 times 2, that's 24. And don't forget about this minus sign right here. So you really have 12, take away 24, plus 10. If it's getting crowded, let me rewrite that, all right? We have 12, take away 24, plus 10. Now we know that 12, take away 24, that's negative 12. And negative 12 plus 10, that is negative 2. And that is our k value, our vertex y value. So ladies and gentlemen, in order to write an equation in vertex form, you need three things. You need your a value, your h value, and your k value. And guess what? We have our a value. It's the same a value as the standard form quadratic trinomial equation. And we just found our vertex, which is technically our h and our k. So let's take a look at these multiple choice answers. And remember, vertex form is y equals a, parentheses x minus h, close parentheses squared plus k, where your a value in this case was 3. So you know what? Let me just jot it down right here. The h value we said was 2, and the k value was negative 2. So let me write it out. Y equals a, we said was 3. X minus h, we said was 2, close parentheses squared, plus k, and the k value is minus 2. So plus negative 2 is just going to be a minus 2 at the end. So which multiple choice answer is this? This is, oh, wait a minute, there's still more to it. After knowing that this is your correct equation, which is this one right here, y equals 3, x minus 2 squared plus 2, it also says identify the axis of symmetry. Okay, and remember the axis of symmetry the axis of symmetry is really x equals the x value of your vertex, which in this case, the x value of our vertex was positive 2. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 2, and that's what they have right here on this multiple choice answer. And we know that the parabola opens up because the a value is positive. So we have the correct vertex form equation, we have the correct axis of symmetry, and we have the correct opening, which means that this is the correct answer right here. And that's what you're going to see on the final exam. We have another one where it says write an equation for the parabola that has the vertex 1, 5 and that passes through the point -1, -11. So this one's a little different because they give you a vertex, which is technically an h and k value. And you know what, before that, notice that all of your multiple choice answers are in vertex form, okay? And to write an equation in vertex form, of course, you need an h and a k, which you know your h is 1 and your k is 5, but you also need an a value, okay? You need that a value. And on the information that they give us, they don't give us the a value, they give us another point. They tell us that our equation is going to pass through this point. Okay, so once again, they want us to write an equation. All right, now what kind of equation? They want us to write a standard form equation. How do I know? I mean, not standard form, vertex form equation. How do I know? Because all of these are in vertex form. Okay, so in order to write a vertex form equation, you need 3 things. You need the a value, you need the h value, and you need the k value. That way you could write it in this form, y equals a parenthesis x minus h squared plus k. So your h is in here and your k is over here. So if you have your a, your h, and your k, you'll be able to write it in vertex form. So they do indirectly, well not indirectly, directly they give us the h and k value because they tell us that our vertex is 1 and 5. 1 and 5. So they give you the h, they give you the k, all you need is the a value. Now we do not have a. What do we have? We also have a point. It tells us that it passes through the point -1 for x and -11 y, right, is the y. So they give us a coordinate, which indirectly they're giving you an x and a y value. So check this out, guys. I'm going to take the -1 for x and put it right in here. I'm going to take the -11 for y and put it over here. I'm going to take the 1 for h, plug it in there, and the 5 for k and plug it in there. Again, in algebra, whenever you're trying to solve for something, you take what they give you, you plug it all in to find what you need, right? So let's plug in the x, the y, the h, and the k. That way we could find, whoops, I dropped my pencil. That way we could find the missing a value that we need in order to write our equation in vertex form. So instead of y, I'm going to plug in -11. -11 equals a, and we don't know a yet, so I'm just going to keep it a. That's what I'm trying to find out here. And then instead of x minus h, instead of x, I'm going to put a -1. Instead of x, I'm going to put a -1 right there. So -1, and then minus h, and we said h was +1, okay? And there is a square on the outside, and then plus k, and k we know is 5. So let's put a 5 right there. Maybe I should do it in red to stay color coordinated here. So let's simplify this thing and let's solve for a. What I have here is a -1 minus 1, that's -2, and then -2 squared, that's +4. So I really have a times +4, which is +4a. Bring down the +5, bring down the equal sign, bring down the -11. Now we could solve for a. So let's subtract 5 here, subtract 5 there. I'm running out of space, but on the left side of my equal sign, so here's my equal sign. On the left side, I have -16. So I have -16, I have equals, and then I have 4a. So my final step will be to divide both sides by 4, giving me my a value of -4. So ladies and gentlemen, I just found my a value of -4. I also know my h value of 1 and my k value of 5. So now I'm able to write my equation in vertex form. Y equals, we said my a value was -4, open parenthesis, x minus h, which is +1, close parenthesis, squared, plus k, which is +5. And ladies and gentlemen, This right here is my standard form, not my standard form, my vertex form equation. Okay, my A, my H, and my K were all plugged in. Which correct multiple choice option is that? Well, the -4 is right there, the -1 for H, or the 1 for H is right there, and the +5 for K is right there. So this is my correct answer. And I hope this helps.